Alright, okay.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ParsecGames and welcome back to our Five Nights at Freddy's 1 tutorial series. I recently started the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 tutorial series, but this is going to be an entry in the tutorial series of Five Nights at Freddy's 1. And today what we're going to do is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to add night 6. And what we're going to have to do for that is that we're going to have to check in the part where whenever a night is over, it just increases current night by 1 and then starts a new night. But if you know the original game, at the end of night 5, you actually don't start into night 6 directly. Instead, you actually get a check for your work that you've done. So we're going to have to go into the 6 a.m. animation sprite. And we're going to have to go into this part where the current night is increased by 1. And check if current night is lower than 5. And only in that case, we want to increase the night by 1. And also in this clone right here, which is the part of the animation, the 6 going up, we don't want to broadcast show current night if the night is larger than 4. Instead, we're going to check if current night is smaller than 5, then broadcast show current night. Otherwise, we're going to check if the current night equals 5. In that case, we need to display the payment slip. So we're going to make a new message called display.night5slip. And we're also going to add another if in here, which checks if the current night is actually night 6, which is going to broadcast display.night6slip. Okay. So we're just going to test that out. Going to set the current night to 5 and click continue. So we're going to launch into the 5th night. And I'm just going to set the time to 6 to skip the night. We're going to have to fix that in a moment. Okay, and as you can see now the game has pretty much stopped because we just broadcast display.night5slip, but nothing happens in that case. So what we're going to check now is first to fix this little bug here where the night display doesn't end. So we're going to have to go into the clock sprite and we're gonna make it just hide when the night is over, and the same is gonna go for the sprite which displays the current night, which is this one right here, which right now is unnamed, but we're just gonna call it DSP for display current night. And there it's also gonna be that when the night is over, this should just hide. Yeah. Okay, we can hear Freddy laughing right now because the night is actually still going on, which is pretty scary. I'm just gonna make it so that these other parts, like the fan and the doors and stuff, also disappear when we receive the night 5 slip. Also want to make the doors, make the buttons hide on night 5 slip and night 6 slip. Same for the right one, obviously. Hide if it receives display.night6 slip and 5 slip. And I think I didn't add night 6 slip to the fan. Yeah. So that should also hide when we receive night 6 slip. Okay, so when we receive this, now you're going to see that the buttons and stuff disappear. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually import the slips. So we're going to make a new sprite and import them. So I just got jump scared by Chica because I didn't pause the game. Yeah, don't get yourself jump scared. Just pause the game if it's still going on. So for some reason, these are going to be in office and then other. These 3 slips. So this seems to be the slip for night 6. So we're just going to call this costume 6. This seems to be the custom night slip. So let's just call the costume custom. This is the night 6 slip. And this is the night 5 slip. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make it this sprite obviously hide when the flag is clicked. And when we receive night 5 slip, it's going to show up, switch to costume 5. First set the brightness to -100 to make it black. And then repeat 10 times, change brightness effect by 10 to make it fade in. Also make it go to the front layer like this, and also make it go to the center of the screen and make it a little bit bigger to fill the whole canvas. Let's try out 125, 135, yep. Like this. Then just make it wait 3 seconds. Then change the back, then fade back out again by changing the brightness effect by -10 times. Then it should hide. And then we're going to need to get back to the main menu. So what we're going to have to do for that is make a new message called goto.mainMenu. That's going to be broadcast when this hides. And now you might remember that we made all the main menus actually just start right when the flag is clicked. So we're going to have to change that. We're going to go to the Freddy main menu sprite, which was the first sprite we ever made, which was 6 years ago or something. And we're going to broadcast goto.mainMenu right here. And now for every part, every script that's part of the main menu, we're going to add this at the start instead of the flag. Make sure to do that for every sprite that's part of the main menu. And we're also going to go into the Freddy main menu sprite once again. And when that receives go to main menu, it's going to set the status to menu. And now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go into the sprites, like display current night and those kinds of sprites. And we're also going to have to add in a new block, which is stop other scripts in the sprite. And it's going to do this when it receives night over, so that it's no longer going to go to the front layer and show and that kind of stuff. Same thing for the clock. And also look for the door sprites. This already does that. We're also going to add in hide when the time is 6, and the same for the right door. Okay, let's try that out. So we're going to start the game. As you can see, the main menu still works, which is good. So we're going to check what's our current night right now. Going to click on continue. And I'm going to set the time to 6 to skip the night. And we're going to go into the 6 AM animation and just broadcast night over when the time goes to 6. Let's try that again. So that looks a lot better now. Now it should fade out, go into the slip. Yep. And we're back to the main menu. Now we're going to go into the clock sprite and just add in when it receives night over that it should hide and stop the other script in the sprite. Because otherwise this is never going to be reached if we leave it down here. Because if we want to skip the night at least. Because this is going to wait 96 seconds and so on. And it won't actually react to the night being skipped manually by changing the variable. So now this should hide when we do that. Yep. Now we also need to check the backdrop, because that doesn't have the when I receive go to main menu yet. That's why the music didn't start. Yep. And now we're also going to have to make sure that the animatronics actually stop moving. So what we're going to have to do for that is just go into the general AI. And when we receive a night over, we just stop all other scripts in this sprite. Same for all the individual AIs, meaning Freddy, Bonnie, and so on. So we're just going to go in here, and when we receive night over, we're going to stop all other scripts in these sprites. Same for Bonnie and so on. Just drag that in there. Same for Chica. Drag that in there, and also Foxy. Drag that in there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check that all that worked. We're going to start it again and once again skip the night by setting the time to 6. Yeah, and we're also going to go into the static sprite and add in that when it receives night over, it's also going to stop all other scripts in this sprite. And we're also going to go into the 6 a.m. animation once again and make it actually fade out as soon as it's shown. And we're going to go into the 6 a.m. animation and we're going to move this set time to 0 into this part right here, because that should only happen if we're actually going to launch another night. We're going to go into the display night message. And when we receive that, we're just going to repeat 10 times change ghost effect by 10. And then delete this clone and hide and delete this clone. This will delete any clones that we have, and the main sprite will also hide. And now within the display night 5 slip, we're going to wait just a few seconds before we start fading in so that the other sprite has time to fade out. So let's try that out. Let's set the time to 6 manually once again to skip the night. So that's the animation. It's going to fade out in a moment. And we're going to see the slip. Yeah. And now we're going to go back to the main menu. Yeah. As you can see, for some reason the continue button isn't here. That's because I forgot to add the go to main menu receiver at the start of these. Let's fix that. Now it should show up. Yeah. And now what we have to do is we actually need to add some stuff to the main menu. One is the stars. So there's some stars that you can unlock. You get one for finishing night 5, then another one for finishing night 6, and then a third one if you finish the custom night in 420 mode, meaning setting all the AIs to 20, which is the highest level. So we're just going to have to import these star images. So we're going to make a new sprite, call this main menu stars, and let's import them. These are in Fnaf 1 textures other and then 432, and for some reason it looks like this. Not sure why that's the case, so we're just gonna have to look for a star elsewhere. So we're just gonna use this one. I really don't understand why the star looks so weird in the original Fnaf textures, but you're just gonna have to use this one, which looks basically the same. So yeah, so we're gonna do hide when the flag is clicked, and then when we receive go to main menu, we're gonna show up. Sprite is gonna show up. Gonna set the size to somewhere around 15. Let's add a forever around here just to check the coordinates and the size. Set the coordinates to minus 200 maybe, and the y value to minus 25. Set the size to around 12. So a good size and coordinates for this is size 12 and location x minus 212 and y minus 25. And we're going to make it go to the front layer and go backward 3 layers. We're going to remove this show here, go to this position and check if the current night is larger than 5, meaning we've beaten night 5. In that case, there's at least 1 star. So we're going to make a new sprite variable just for the sprite called number of stars. We're going to set the number of stars to 0 right here, but then change it by 1 if the current night is larger than 5. If it's larger than 6 even, we're going to add another star. And now we're going to make a new variable, which we're going to access later, which is going to be called beat for 20 mode. And if beat for 20 mode equals 1, then we're also going to change stars by 1 as well. Add it like this. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to add in if number of stars is greater than 0. Then repeat number of stars times. Create a clone of myself and change x by, for example, 10. We're going to have to check how far we need to move to the right for each star, maybe something around 20. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to make it so that these clones will show up for 3 seconds and then just delete themselves, so that we have time to check how far we need to move each star from the previous one. And we also need to add in show for the clone. And we're also going to add for each clone to repeat until status is no longer menu. And put in here, go to front layer and go backwards 3 layers. Let's restart the game to see that star here. Yep. And it's going to disappear in a moment because we're setting it to delete after a certain amount of time. So now we're going to set current night to 7, meaning we've unlocked custom night, meaning we're going to have 2 stars. So let's restart the game. As you can see, they're way too close to each other. So we're going to have to move them a little bit. And we're going to go into the new game and continue sprites and just make them go backwards a couple more layers, maybe 10. Same with continue, just so we have space for the stars. Let's go back to the start and try that out again. That looks like almost the right distance, maybe more like 38. Yeah. And now let's set beat 420 mode to 1 to see the final star. So now we have 3 stars. Now we don't have to make them delete themselves anymore, so we can remove this part and just add the show over here. Let's restart the game. So as you can see how many stars you've got. We're also going to move the new game button slightly downwards to -65. And we're going to move the continue button slightly upwards to -100. So that they're slightly closer to each other. So that now we have space for a new button, which is going to be the one that starts night 6. So to add that, what we're going to do is we're just going to go into the continue sprite and just duplicate it and call this one continue night 6. And we're going to obviously have to replace this costume here. So we're going to import it, which is going to be in numbers and nights and then camera and nights. And it's going to be the image called 443. Import that, remove the continue image and just replace all the gray parts with black. So now we're going to have to check out where to put it. So definitely slightly lower to -140 maybe. Yeah. And make it go slightly more to the right to -157. And make it go backwards 9 layers to stop this flickering right here. And this is only going to happen if current night is larger than 5. And the same for over here. Okay. And when this sprite is clicked, we're going to set the current night to 6 and broadcast show current night. And we're going to make a new variable called custom night unlocked and go back into the stars and make it so that instead of checking whether current night is larger than 6, we're going to check whether custom night has been unlocked, because you should still be able to play night 6 even if custom night is unlocked. That shouldn't change anything. Let's go back and move this slightly further upwards. The 6th night, yeah. Okay, and that should be it. If we start the 6th night now by clicking on it, I'm just going to restart the game just to be sure that it works. We're going to click the 6th night continue button and we're going to be launched into the 6th night. There's still some mistakes right here. First of all, we need to make it so that show current night makes these clones delete themselves, the stars, and also hide, just to be sure. Same goes for show newspaper, and also for the continue button, same goes for that when we receive hide main menu, it's gonna hide and stop all other scripts in this sprite, and the stars should also disappear. So we're gonna go into the new game and continue sprites and just make it so they actually hide when it's no longer in the main menu, when the status is no longer main menu. Same as I said for the continue sprite and also the continue 6th night sprite. Okay, let's try it out. Let's click on 6th night and this should launch us into night 6. Yeah. Okay, so now we have night 6 playable. Now what we actually need to do is we actually need to add in the night 6 slip as well. So we're going to rename this sprite, which we made earlier, into night end slips, and just basically copy what happens when you receive the night 5 slip and just make it display night 6 slip and switch to costume 6 instead, and also set custom night unlocked to 1 when when we receive that, so that it's unlocked. So now let's go into night 6 and manually skip the night by setting the time to 6. And now we should be greeted to the night 6 slip. Yep. And let's go into the 6 a.m. animation and just copy this part we did here and make it also hide when we receive night 6 slip. Otherwise, it's not going to go away. And also set beat for 20 mode to 0 for now. Okay, let's try that out. So now I'm just going to start the 6th night and set the time to 6 in order to skip the night. That's going to give us this animation. Let's wait for that to end. And as you could tell, the animation is slightly broken because the 5 became visible. So we're just going to go into the part right here, which goes up, which is the 5. And after it's done moving upwards, we're already going to delete that clone because we don't need it anymore. So let's restart that. Now, as you can see, we have 2 stars because we just unlocked the custom night. So let's set custom night unlocked to 0, restart the game, start night 6 again, and skip it once again by setting the time to 6. And now the 5 should no longer be displayed up here when this animation is about to end, when it fades out. Yep. So we see the slip, and we're going to go back to the main menu, and we have 2 stars now. So if we check the custom night unlocked variable, it's set to 1. And that's what we're going to add in the next video. It's going to be custom night. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. If you haven't checked out my other videos yet, make sure to do so. I really appreciate all the feedback and all the people watching my videos. And I'll see you in the next one.